Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the last dance. How is everyone feeling tonight? Type of one if you can hear me. Type of one if you can see me. Type of one if you will pass this exam tomorrow. Yes, ladies and gents, I'm buzzing for all of you. And here's the reason why I'm buzzing. The reason I'm buzzing is because all I see in front of me is future pharmacists in the next few weeks. In the next few weeks, all of you are going to be on that register. You will be a pharmacist, ladies and gents. You will be a pharmacist. This is the day. The day has come. The day has come when we turn our dreams into reality. This is what you've been working for the last 5 years, and some of you even more. This is what you've been working for every single day at university. First year, second year, third year, fourth year. The stress, the pain, the struggle, the sleepless nights, all of these, the foundation year, guys, the calculations, the clinical, MEP, OTC, hard work in the pharmacy, standing on your feet all day, the pain, the sacrifice, not being able to talk to your family, not being able to spend as much quality time with those you care about. All of this, all this sacrifice, ladies and gents, all comes down to tomorrow. Tomorrow is the day where your life begins. Tomorrow is the day where you take things to the next level. Tomorrow is the day where dreams become a reality. And if others have done it, ladies and gents, guess what? You can do it too. More students pass this exam than fail the exam. The pass rate in June has always been above 70%. Which means, ladies and gents, you already are in a very good place. Today's session is all about boosting your confidence. It's reminding you about how great you are. It's reminding you how far you've come. Reminding you that in this exam, ladies and gents, you can fill a number of questions and still pass. Just reminding you that you don't need to be an expert in every single thing to pass the GPC exam. Yes, you could fail one calculation question. You could fail 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. In some exams, 13 and 14, and you still pass this exam. But Marvin, but what about clinical? Oh, yes, clinical, you can fill up to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 36. Guys, ladies and gents, you can fill even up to 36 questions. In some exams, even more. And still pass! And still pass! So, luck is on your side. Everything is towards you. Hey, but Marvin, I'm sitting the exam tomorrow, but I don't feel confident. The only one that doesn't believe in you is yourself. Because I believe in you. Your tutor believes in you. Because if they did not believe in you, they're not even going to put you forward to the exam in the first place. The reason why you have been put forward to sit the GPC assessment is because you have what it takes to succeed. But Marvin, I'm scared. I don't know why. I'm scared. I've got all this anxiety. I'm scared, Marvin. Fear. F-E-A-R. Spell it. Fear. F-E-A-R. What does it stand for? False evidence appearing real. We do mnemonics, ladies and gents. We are all about mnemonics. F-E-A-R is false evidence, which is appearing real to you. You've looked at all those difficult questions on those Telegram groups, ladies and gents, on those WhatsApp groups. You've looked at the most difficult things and you've said to yourself, oh my God, tomorrow, all of these tough questions that I did in the mock are going to come up. Oh my God, those questions I couldn't answer. Those are the only questions I know will come up in this GPC exam. Oh my God, what if I walk into that exam and all the things I've not studied are the only things that come up? False evidence appearing real to you. You have to make the exam fear you. Do not fear the GPC exam, ladies and gents. Let the GPC exam fear you. The GPS is not out there to trap you. They're not out there to make you fail, because if they were, you will never get above 70% in every June exam. The GPHC just wants to make sure that you can work in the pharmacy from day one safely. What does this mean to you, ladies and gents? This means common things are common in your exam. Those medications you dispense on a day-to-day basis, those metformins and amoxicillins, those interactions that are common interactions, those OTC meds that you sell every single day, that counseling that you give to the patient about how to use Ventolin, all of these are the things they will be testing you on. But Marvin, I failed mocks. Marvin, I can't even tell you how many mocks I've done and I failed in the last mock I did. I only had 60%. Mocks are not a true reflection of the GPHS exam. Many students fail mocks and many pass the GPHS exam because a mock is not a true reflection. I failed many mocks. I signed up on track in my time, and my time was a very, very long time. Everything was still in black and white, but it was still a time. That's when I signed up. I signed up on track, and I thought, yes, let me answer these questions. Let me test myself. Let me see how I performed. It was awful, ladies and gents. I got a lot of questions wrong all the time. Then I decided I was going to do mocks. Maybe things will be better. So I decided to do a pro pharmacist mock. And there we did it. I had 72%, ladies and gents, in the pro pharmacist mock. And I was excited. And I thought, this is good. I want to do another mock. And I decided I'm going to do the Bradford mock. And I did the Bradford mock. And ladies and gents, I had 75%. I said I must be smart. Things are looking good for me. Things are shiny. I will smash this exam. Then I decided, I want to do another mock. So I decided I'm going to do the Buttercups mock. Ladies and gents, I failed the Buttercups mock. Then I said to myself, I'm not good enough. And I thought I'm going to do another mock. I did the Kiel University mock, ladies and gents. I failed the Kiel University mock. Then I thought, my gosh, I might fail this exam. Let me try one more mock. So I decided to do a Kingston mock. And I did the Kingston mock, ladies and gents. I had 60%. But the only difference is I said to myself, mocks are not a true reflection of the exam. Yes, I may have failed, but I will stay positive. I will continue to believe until I do the exam. It is not over until it's over. I will still walk in there and I will still give it my best. And guess what, ladies and gents? I walked into that exam and I passed the GPHS exam. It wasn't as bad as those mocks that I failed. In fact, it was a lot easier than those mocks. And by the way, I probably did not get every question right because I remember I was struggling with calculations. I probably failed up to about 10 calculation questions, but here am I am a pharmacist today. And many of you know pharmacists, locums that you have at work that you're like, oh my God, how did you become a pharmacist again? How did you really pass your exam? Because you don't need to be special to pass this exam. You don't need to be great. All of you, you've done your degree, you've got a master's in pharmacy, you've done your foundation year, you are good. Majority of you right now, if we took the exam away and we said to you, go in and work in a pharmacy as the pharmacist, majority of you will do a brilliant job. You will do a brilliant job, even better than some pharmacists. So you already have the skill, you have the know-how, you have the knowledge, you have every single thing. Now we just need to pass this exam and it's within your reach. You can do it. You need to believe in yourself. So for today, we're going to keep this session really short. And if you're ready for motivation to give you the tips to excel on exam day, to help you pass this exam, I want you to type a yes, type a yes, type a yes. Type a yes in the sections. Type it in the motivation section, in the chat section, whatever you want to type it in. Just type in yes and let's go. Let's go. Great. Zishan, thanks for coming on. Great to have you. Mackenzie, good to have you. Fish in the house. Humera, great to have you on. Amara, Angel in the house. Yes, good to have you on. Ivan Abel in the house. Very good to have all of you. About 185, almost 200 of us. Yvonne, great to have you on. We're going to have a great session today. We're going to give you tips that are going to help you succeed. So I do this with all my trainees. Free shortcuts. We're going to be doing this. I do this as well with my private trainees. So here are the things that we're going to cover. The first thing is tomorrow is the day of the exam. Who here is sitting the exam tomorrow? If you are sitting the exam tomorrow, please type on me. If you are sitting the exam tomorrow, please type me in the chat. If you are sitting in November, type 2. So if you're sitting tomorrow, type me. If you are sitting in November, type 2. Welcome, ladies and gents. You're with me, Marvin, the best in the business. And I'm confident to say this because I've been doing this for 10 years. And my passion is to help you succeed. Today, we're going to look at some of the key things that could happen on the day of the exam that can affect your performance. You've worked so hard, and I want you to become a pharmacist because you deserve it. So let's look at the things that are essential for tomorrow. Let's look at things that are essential. It's not about reading now. It's not about trying to do more mock papers tonight. It's not about trying to answer all those quizzes and all those tests and all those mock papers. No, today is about relaxing. Today is about your mental state. Because it doesn't matter how much you've learned. If tomorrow you're not in the right mental state, you could fail the exam. How many remember at university when you prepared for an exam, you went to the exam, you sat the exam, and then the question came up that you knew very well, but for some strange reason, at that specific point in time, you couldn't remember. It's only when you finish the exam and you walked out and thought, oh my God, I can't believe, I don't know what happened. I couldn't even remember the stuff. I know the stuff, I don't know what happened. You had the knowledge, but what happened was you were not in the right mental state. So your state determines your performance. If you are positive tomorrow and you have everything organized and you walk in there confidently and you're saying all the right things to yourself, your body is speaking the same language as your thoughts, mind and body are congruent. If you put this together, I promise you 100% you will smash that exam. But if at any time you entertain negative thoughts into your head, you say, I'm not good enough, you start asking people questions and you listen to their answers and you think, oh my gosh, you guys are all right, I'm all wrong, and I'm wrong. If that happens tomorrow, you can fail. But none of you is going to fail. So let's look. So the first thing I'm going to go through, no, I don't have the slides on here. I'm just going to read through this stuff. And I really want you guys to take this very serious because this is so important. The first question I want to ask you is, before you sit the exam, ask yourself, are you fit to sit the exam? How many of you are 100% sitting the exam tomorrow? And who here is still on the fence? Who here is still like, I don't really know if I'm going to sit the exam tomorrow or not? Who here doesn't feel confident at all? Like perhaps there is something external making you sit this exam. Perhaps your tutor, perhaps your family. There's an external pressure. Deep down, you don't want to, but because of all these people at work and your family and maybe your background and all of this, it's pushing you to sit this exam. If that's you, the first thing I want to say to you is do not sit the exam unless you are ready. Do not sit the exam until you are ready. I cannot tell you the number of students that I know that over the past years have failed the exam simply because why did you do the exam? I did the exam because my tutor made me do it. I did the exam because everyone in my family I told I was going to do it and I felt I was going to be a failure if I did not sit the exam. So I decided to do the exam and I failed. It only makes it worse for you. So number one, make sure that you only go in tomorrow and sit the exam if you are fit to sit the exam and you feel confident to sit the exam. If not, there's no harm in pushing it to November, spending more time, and then passing your exam. Okay? How do you know if you're ready? There are many things that can tell you if you're ready. You would have done some quizzes, you would have done some past papers, you would have done some mock papers. If you're scoring a good score in those papers, very high 60s, you're getting 70s, you will know your level. You will know your level based on the performance. Okay, you're never going to be 100%. I'm 100% sure, but you at least have practice questions and you will know in terms of your knowledge how much you recall stuff. Okay, the rest of it is just having faith and going in there and believing I have done other exams in the past and I can pass this too. Okay, you will all pass. Okay, so here are the important things that we need to focus on before tomorrow. So first thing is, who is fit to sit the exam tomorrow? Are you fit? Type out yes if you are. If you are fit to sit the exam, there's no issues. I've got no health issues. I'm fine. There's nothing that I know of. I am fine to sit this exam and I'm ready to sit the exam and I will be sitting the exam tomorrow. Type a yes, type a me, type a yes, type a me. That is the first question we need to ask ourselves. Here is it. I need to tell you guys this. The reason why I'm saying this is because you have until you get into the exam hall to still withdraw and not sit the exam. You can withdraw even tomorrow, as long as you don't sign the online declaration saying you are fit to sit the exam. So you could still go into exam tomorrow, and if you're nervous and you walk into that hall and you're like, oh my gosh, I don't want to do this, you can withdraw, okay? Don't feel pressured. Now, the moment you sign that declaration to say, yes, I am fit to sit the exam, that's it, guys. If you fail the exam, you cannot come back. The GPS is not going to let you put an appeal and say, oh, I'm appealing against my results. I failed the exam. I failed the exam because I wasn't well. I failed the exam because on the day of the exam, I wasn't feeling well at all. And, you know, my mom and my family and someone in my family passed away or they were severely ill. And that made me really, really distressed. And this is the reason why I failed. And I'm appealing. Can this attempt be cancelled? This is the reason. No, what the GPC wouldn't. The only time the GPC is going to grant you appeal is if there was something that affected your performance that you were not aware about when you were sitting the exam, which is kind of strange, isn't it? For example, perhaps you're dyslexic, but you never knew you were dyslexic. The diagnosis only happened after the exam, and you only found out after the exam you were dyslexic. In that case, that would have affected you, but you did not know about it when you signed the declaration. That could be a positive ground for appeal, okay? But you cannot walk out there and say, oh, I failed the exam now. I want to appeal because, you know what, I had a tough time. I was going through a lot of depression. I was going through all of this stuff. Nobody helped me. My family was mean to me. I was so sad. I was so ill and everything was happening in my country where people were fighting and all this stuff was happening. No, all of those things you need to know before you sit. The moment you say you're fit to sit, that's it. No more excuses after that, okay? That's why I'm telling you, it's so important that you know about this. So once you're fit to sit, you go in there, guys, tomorrow, and you sit your exam. Now, what are the key things that you need to make sure you know before tomorrow? I cannot tell you how many students have gone into the exam and they have not done well because they've not known these things. The two stages to pass your exam, the first stage is your mental state, and then the second state is your knowledge, right? Your knowledge is going to help you pass, but also, number two, your mental state is going to help you pass. Those two things have to be aligned. If tomorrow there are things that affect your mental state, and we're going to go through some of the things that could really affect your mental state tomorrow, that could affect your performance negatively. So today is about looking at all those things that could affect your state and make sure that they don't. So that when you're fine tomorrow mentally, you're going to do well with the knowledge that you have, and all of you are going to pass. All right? All of you are going to pass. So make sure that you are fit to sit. If you don't feel well, if there is anything that's bothering you, then please, guys, you withdraw from the exam. As far as I know now, I think you don't need to, there's no formal process now to withdraw. You can just withdraw, not to the exam, and that information will be passed on to GPC. You do not sign it, you do not sit the exam, you do not declare fitness, so it's not going to be used against you. You have another chance in November. Now, what about if you went to the exam tomorrow and you were fit, you started writing that exam at the beginning, you felt okay, you did paper one, and by the time you got to paper two in the afternoon, you didn't feel well? What happens then? Or perhaps you started the exam and just anxiety, you started throwing up, and this has happened in many exams. In my exam, I had two girls that were throwing up, and I had another girl that was crying throughout the whole exam, right? Things do happen. But the question is not what happens, it's what you do with what happened. You need to know what to do tomorrow so that it doesn't knock you off. Okay? So what do you think you're going to do? I'm asking you guys a question. If tomorrow you're in the exam and for some reason, after you've signed the declaration that you're fit to sit, but whilst you're doing this paper, you feel very ill. Or maybe even after the calculations paper, you're done now, it's time in the afternoon to do the clinical and you've got a massive headache. What would you do? Okay, so you need to know this. So if you're not well during the exam, then you can nullify the exam. Please, ladies and gents, do not carry on. Do not carry on if you're not well and then finish the exam and then submit it. And then when you fail, you go, oh, I need to do an appeal against the GPHC because I wasn't well when I actually sat that exam. It is too late. You have to nullify whilst you're sick. You have to notify the invigilators, fill in a form, notification form, send that off to the GPHC with some evidence. So if your evidence was you're not well, you need to at least have some evidence, maybe a GP note or something to say you're not well. Send that to a GPHC and that's going to be nullified. I'm saying this because with all my years of working with trainees, and it happens every year, I get loads of messages when the results come out. So many messages from trainees. Marvin, please help me. It was my final attempt. I need to appeal. And I go, what do you need to appeal for? Actually, when I was doing the exam, I wasn't feeling well at all. I couldn't even finish the exam. But you submitted everything. It's too late now. You should have done it then. Right? So if there's anything that happens, you stop the exam, you put your hand up, the invigilator, I'm not feeling well. They're going to log this down for you. They're going to send that to GPHC. You're going to walk out of the examination hall, and this attempt is not going to be counted against you. Then you have another chance to do that in November. Okay? Don't do everything and then submit everything. And then when the results come out, oh my God, I want to tell you what happened to me. No one's going to listen to you. Okay? So nullifying simply means you will still have a chance. It's not going to be counted against you. But you're not going to do it to the end. They're not going to mark your paper. When they nullify it, they're not going to mark your paper, so you're not going to expect a result. But all that means is, if you're not well during the exam, that's not going to be counted against you. You still have your chance. It's not going to be considered as an attempt, and then you can do that again in November. But make sure you follow the procedure, because you normally have about a week or about 5 days to make sure you submit this nullification form to the GPHC. And if you don't, you lose your chance. Okay, is that clear? Type of one, guys. So important. No one tells you these things until the day of the exam. I know this is so important because I cannot tell you the number of students that call me, send me messages even on the day of the exam, crying. All right. So once we've done this, the next thing we need to make sure we know. The next thing is, who here is sitting the exam tomorrow and hasn't looked on the GPHC exam to understand or have a feel of how the SURPASS system, which you're going to be using tomorrow, works? Who here hasn't done a little demo, or who here doesn't really know how the SURPASS system that you're going to be using tomorrow works? If that's you, type of 2. If you know you've done a little trial, maybe you've done an exam before, but you know about the system, you know about the functionalities, you've seen on the GPHC website, you've attempted it, you've used it. If you have used it before and you know how it works, you know what to expect, you know about the functionalities, type a yes. But if you haven't, type a no. If you have, type a yes. You know what the system is like, you know how it appears, you know the functions in it, you know how to highlight on it, you know all of this stuff, you know how to search, you know to do all these things, you understand the layout, type a yes. But if you don't and you're sitting the exam tomorrow, type a no. So first thing you need to do is, rather than try to read anything, learn more stuff, you go onto the GPHC website and you go onto the SURPASS system, and there's a little guide on how to use it. Please do this so that at least tomorrow you're not seeing it for the first time. Okay? Very, very, very important. Very important. Go onto the GPHC website, SURPASS system, look at the functions on there and familiarize yourself with it before tomorrow. These are all things that will improve your mental state on the day of the exam. All right? Okay, next thing. This is so serious. I was telling the trainees yesterday in my private group that this happened to me. So I'm talking out experience, and I cannot tell the number of other students this happened to. So I did my exam in November. So anyone that tells you, oh my God, I heard the November exam is so difficult. So Marvin, I want to sit the exam in June because even though I'm not ready, I heard that November is so difficult. So I'd rather sit it in June than sit it in November. Don't do that to yourself. I have trainees that have done that and they failed the exam in June. They're not ready for June, but they're so scared of November that they will just decide to sit in June, and then they failed. Here is my take on this. I did my exam in November and I passed. The question is not which exam is easy, which exam is difficult. The question is how prepared are you? Because if you are prepared, it doesn't matter when you sit the exam. Whether you sit the exam in June or whether you sit the exam in November, you will pass. Okay? The key is preparation. Preparation. So you're better off not sitting it in June and preparing for the next few months and then smashing it in November than saying to yourself, no, I just have to sit in June now, Marvin, even though I'm not ready because I heard that November was difficult. Again, don't fear the exam. Let the exam fear you. All right, so next thing is, so here's what I got caught out, which really almost affected my mental state. But luckily, I left the exam. I went to the exam early. So all of you guys need to know what time your exam starts tomorrow. Can you guys type in the chat what time your exam starts tomorrow? What time does calculations start for you tomorrow? What time? What time does your calculations paper start? 10 from Fish, 10 from Humera, 10 from Nav, 10 from Yvonne, 10 from Tia, 10 from Zishan. Great, loads of tens. So everyone should start at 10 a.m. tomorrow. My advice to you now is to get there at 9. The registration normally opens at 9 o'clock, but the GPHS says you should be there at least 30 minutes before your exam, so 9:30. But I will say this to you. Be there at 9 a.m. Be there at 9 because you want to leave early. Be there at 9 or even before. Anything before 9 is even better. But make sure you don't go there past 9, 9:30, 9:45. Don't do this. So this is what happened to me. I live in Northampton and my exam was not in London. So the center was in London. But I live in Northampton. So what I decided to do was go down to London the night before my exam and stay with my friends. We're all sitting this exam together. So I traveled down the night before. I made sure I took all my documents, my passport, my ID, everything. I made sure I took this. I got to London, spent the night with my friends. We did a bit of revision, chatted a little bit. Next day in the morning, we're rushing to the exam hall, to the center. I got on the train on London Underground, heading to the center. And as soon as I got into the Underground, this was probably about 8 o'clock, I realized I had left my passport on the table at my friend's place. Luckily, this was in London, not in Northampton, because I brought it down with me initially. But on the day, in the morning, as we're rushing out, okay, guys, we need to go. We had a quick breakfast. Let's go. I said, all right, fine, let's go. Jumped in the car. His parents dropped us off at the station. We went to Underground. As soon as I got on the Underground, I thought, oh my God. Luckily, I realized then I left my passport. I had to make a U-turn. But because I'd left early enough, I had enough time to go back to his, get the passport, and then get to the center before the exam started. So this shouldn't happen to you. So number one, you need to know what you need to take with you to the exam. The main thing is you need to take with you, and you need to make sure you have this, is number one, have a GPHC approved calculator. Your calculator must be GPHC approved. If it's not, you're not going to be able to sit the exam. Well, you will be able to sit the exam, but you have to use the calculator that is on the screen. And you don't want to use a calculator that you're not familiar with. I had a trainee, we spoke about this, and she didn't. I mean, she'd not done the exam. She was off for about 2 years, and then she came back to do the exam, and she didn't even realize that the calculator that she had was no longer a GPHC approved calculator. And even though I had these sessions before, she didn't do anything. She got to the exam, and it's only then that she found out she had the wrong calculator. Imagine what that does to your mental state. Going into a calculations exam without having a calculator that you're used to. Luckily, there was someone else that had a spare calculator, and so they sort of lent the calculator to her. But even that is not good enough, because you're going to be using a strange calculator with you. You wouldn't even know if this is well calibrated. You wouldn't even know if this calculator is good. all those doubts creeping that will affect your mental state. Alternatively, you could use a calculator on the system, which to me, you've never used it, you don't know what it's about. So all of these things could affect your mental performance, which then lead to failure. And it has affected so many trainees in the past. I don't want it to affect you. So number one, make sure your calculator is GPC approved. Ideally, take 2 calculators. Take 2. You cannot have 2 with you on your desk, but you could keep 1 in your bag just in case. Okay, just have a just in case calculator. The second thing that you need is your identification. Do you guys know what IDs you need to take? So normally, if you're a UK citizen or European citizen, a passport, driver's license, UK's driver's license is fine. Or a passport. If you're non-UK or non-European citizen, you need your passport. But here is the thing that you need to be very careful about. It has to be in date. It has to be in date. I don't even know, like right now, I don't even know when my driver's license expires. I just take it out all the time. Hey, have you got a driver's license? Yeah, it is. But you have to make sure that your passport or your license are valid. They've not expired, guys. Right? You have to do this. You don't want to turn up tomorrow, passport is expired, and then you're screwed. Make sure the picture looks like you, right? They can recognize you. And then you can take some water with you. You need water. But it has to be in a very transparent bottle. You cannot take your bottle of Lucozade and like, oh no, it's not Lucozade, there's water in there. You can't have that in the exam room. So imagine going to the exam and you cannot even drink any water simply because you do not follow the rules. So it has to be a clear, transparent bottle. Okay? So guys, your driver's license or your passport is fine. Take both if you can. All right? Take both if you can. Make sure the water is a transparent bottle. Then the next thing that someone mentioned is you need to know what is permitted in this exam. You cannot take everything. There are certain things that you're allowed and others that you're not. So please make sure you know what you're allowed to take in the exam. You're allowed to take your ID with you. You're allowed to take a calculator with you. You're allowed to take a highlighter pen. So if you got your highlighter pen, you can take it. You can take it with you if you wanted to. You can take a ruler if you wanted. If you wear glasses, you could take it, but you cannot take that with the case. Just the glasses. You can't even put in a case. So those of you that wear glasses, please don't take your cases with you or just leave your case in the bag. You can have your glasses. Water, transparent bottle. Okay? You can take some medication with you. But one thing you shouldn't forget is tissue. Right? You need to take some tissue. Because the girl next to me, when I was doing my exam, she kept crying. Luckily, the guy next to her had some tissue and she used that. Okay? So take some tissue. Hopefully none of you are going to be crying tomorrow. You're going to be laughing. You're going to be smiling because it's going to be so easy and doable for you. So these are things that you can take with you. Not so many things. And you don't want too many things on your desk. It's going to affect you. All right. You want a clean, clear desk so that you have a clear headspace. I don't fill the desk with all sorts. Okay. So that's important. Now, the next thing, guys, the next thing I want to go to with you that you need to absolutely make sure that this is fine on the day for you. If not, you're going to be in real trouble. You're going to be in real trouble. Is you need, and this is essential, guys, this is essential. You need to know when the exam starts and how long you have got. Okay, so this is the thing. Exam starts at 10 o'clock. You are allowed up to 15 minutes to be late. So if you get in at 10 past 10, it's okay. They will still let you sit the exam. If you get in at 11 past 10, they will still let you sit. You get in at 14 past 10, they will still let you sit. You get in at 15 minutes past 10, which you shouldn't. Get there at 9 o'clock. But if you got there at 15 minutes past 10, it's still okay. They're going to let you sit. But if you got there at 16 minutes past 10, that's it, guys. Anything beyond 15 minutes late, you cannot sit the exam. And that's why you have to make sure for your mental state, if you can get to the exam center tonight, you're better doing that. Book a hotel, whatever. Be close to the center. If you're not going to go tonight, leave very early. Make sure you check the traffic, check the updates. there may be some diversions. We've had trainees get to the exam late simply because they did not realize there was a diversion. There was an accident on the way that caused a delay. Right? These things can happen. The underground wasn't working. So these things do happen. And the only way you can prevent yourself from things happening that could affect your state is to leave early. Okay? Go early. Go early. Imagine walking to exam hall, getting there, doing all of this, and then you're late for the exam. And that's what I was scared of when I left my passport. I was panicking. I probably only got there at the end, I probably just got there after 9. So maybe about 10 past 9, whilst I was planning to be there even earlier. Okay. Jerry says, I scouted the exam last weekend with my free time, like Mission Impossible, preparing for the heist. It helps me reduce my anxiety on the exam. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Remember, guys, what makes many trainees fail the exam is not the exam itself, but it's to do with anxiety. It's to do with their mental state. And if there's some of you that fails the exam, which I hope no one does, you find at the end that it's probably due to something that you actually knew, but due to anxiety, due to the state that you were in, you either forgot to use a decimal point or you misread the question. All of these things are due to your state of mind on the day of the exam. So let's get this right, guys. Let's get this right. So you do your exam. Your exam is at 10 o'clock. Your calculation paper is 2 hours. Make sure if you have extra time, you've already put that to GPHC and you have your extra time. Now, it's so important what you do between paper 1 and paper 2 can determine whether you pass or you fail. What you do in your lunch time, so the hours between 12 till 2, I think the next paper starts at 2:30. But what you do between 12 o'clock and 2:30 can determine whether you pass or you fail. Let me tell you a true story, and I always tell the trainees this. About 2 years ago, there was a girl in my private group, and she was in our previous shortcuts program. She went in to do the exam, just like I'm talking to you. We had a session like this. She did her calculations paper, the first paper. As soon as she finished the calculation paper, what do you think happens when everyone is walking out of that calculations room? They start talking about the questions. And she's trying to work out what she got right, what she got wrong. Oh, what did you do for question 30? The question on standard deviation, the question this, the question on health economics. What did you pull? What was your answer? She was asking all these questions in between that time. And what happened is she was so stressed that she'd failed, because she worked out that she'd got quite a number of questions wrong. And she was sending me messages after 12, crying literally, like, oh, Marvin, I've messed it up. I've blown it. I know I failed. I know I failed it 100%. I've failed. My answers were wrong. She was all over the place. So I'm talking to her on the phone. I'm like, listen, don't worry. Put yourself together. It's okay. It's not over until it's over. You don't know until you get your results. Just put your head down. Go and do your clinical paper. Okay? I know it's tough, but push yourself. You have to do. You got another paper in the afternoon. Let's focus on that paper. Let's go smash it. She went and did the clinical paper. She was still in such a state that she did the clinical paper so stressed. Then July, 24th of July, the results were out. Guess what she got? This girl passed calculations. She passed the calculations paper, but she failed clinical by 1 mark. 1 or 2 marks, I can't remember now. There was 1 or it was 2 marks. She failed clinical. And the reason why she failed clinical was because she was so stressed about the calculations, it destroyed her mental state. But when she went into clinical, she was really drained. And she failed by 1 mark. So this goes to show that what you do between the times of finishing your calculation paper before starting your clinical can determine whether you pass, or will determine whether you pass or you fail. So that time is vital. And what you have to do is do not speak to anyone. No friends on the day. Don't speak to anyone until after 4:45 or 4:30 when paper 2 is over. Don't speak to anyone. Put some motivational music. Listen to something positive. Go into your corner. If you want to look at some flashcards or whatever, that's up to you. But be on your own. Be by yourself. Even if you came there with friends, even if you recognize your friends, don't talk to them. Don't talk to them. You're going to talk to them at 4:30. But just say to them, say, hey, if they come to me, if I was there, I had friends that saw me on the day. Someone not seeing uni because it's like they're all doing in the same center. And some of them saw me, yo, Marvin, bro, what's happening? I'm like, nice to meet you. No disrespect, right? But can I chat to you after 4 o'clock? Okay. We'll catch up after 4. We'll catch up after 4. Everyone that came to me, I was like, no, guys, I'll catch up with you later. I'll catch up. Because I didn't want anyone to disturb my state, talk about the questions, anything. I just focused. I was in the zone. I was thinking positive. I'd filled a number of questions and calculations. I knew I'd filled a number of calculation questions, but I chose not to dwell on it. I said, I'm not going to dwell on this stuff. I'm going to stay positive. I'm going to go do my clinical. I'm going to give 100%, and I'm going to wait and see what happens when the results come out. Right? So please do that tomorrow. Just take yourself away from everything. You need to have the ability tomorrow to move on. Your greatest skill, guys, your greatest skill tomorrow is the skill to move on. When I say moving on, I mean moving on from paper 1, the effects of paper 1 to paper 2 without losing your motivation or your drive. Your greatest skill tomorrow will be your ability, guys, to move on from paper 1 after finishing paper 1 to paper 2 without letting it affect your motivation, your drive, or anything. And not only the papers, but also the questions. Your ability to move from question 1 to question 2 to question 3 will determine how well you do in the exam. So if you go into that exam and you try question 1 and it's tough, you need to be able to move on to question 2. And if question 2 is tough, you need to be able to move on to question 3. And if that's tough, you need to be able to move on to question 4 without losing your drive or your motivation. Still saying to yourself continuously, I will pass, I will pass, I will pass. I failed 1, I failed 2, I failed 3, but I can still pass. Okay? Very important, ladies and gents. Very, very important tomorrow. You will see what I'm talking about. And anyone who doesn't do what I'm saying and you choose to do something else, please don't cry at the end when you realize how much your state has been affected. If you want to be in the best mental state tomorrow, an exam day tip is don't talk to anyone. Be on your own, be by yourself, do your own thing. Do your own thing. Say your prayers, whatever, keep it positive. Okay, so now we've done the exam. You do the exam at 9 or 10 o'clock, start the exam. Now let's talk about what happens during the exam if things go wrong, because things have gone wrong for trainees in the exam. Some have fallen ill. Sometimes the computers have been glitching. So the computer is shaky, right? The screen is not too clear. It's happened to students. Some of the trainees, the internet has disconnected. Oh my gosh, what's going on? So what happens when things happen during your exam? What will you do? Okay, the first thing I want to say to you is make sure before you sit to the exam, before you start, that's why it's important to come early, you use the toilet. It sounds so simple, but it's vital. Because there are some centers, some exams that students complained about later that the toilets were too far from the exam hall. So they had to use the toilet. They had to take them about 10 minutes just walking and coming back from the toilet. Imagine losing 10 minutes in the GP's exam. 10 minutes is a difference between a pass or a fail. So you don't want to use the toilet. If you can't do that before you sit down so that you don't have any interruptions. If you have to use the toilet, fair play, you have to. But please try to avoid it. Make sure you do everything before. Okay? That's number one. So what else can happen whilst you're doing the exam? Your screen could go off. It's happened to some students where they've had to change the computers. The invigilators have had to change it. Now, the good news for you is if anything happens tomorrow, anything happens whilst you're doing it, any technical issues or any technical glitches, the first thing you do, ladies and gents, raise your hand and call the invigilator. They have to lock this down for you. Don't even waste a minute to try to do the exam despite the technical issues. Because here's the thing, if you fail the exam, you cannot come back with an appeal. And students have tried to do this, to say, oh, I failed exam, I'm appealing against the GPHC because when I was in the exam, my computer was not too clear. It was like glitching and I couldn't really see clearly, but I did not mention anything to anybody. I just decided to still do the exam. Too bad. So any issue that you have, raise your hand, get the invigilators. They will sort it out for you. They're going to log the time so you have that extra time, and they will also pass this information to the GPHC. So that if anything happens and you don't pass the exam, then you could use this, could help you towards your appeal. Okay, this could, but make sure everything is logged down tomorrow. The good news is I'm the only one who has organized a protest against the GPHC. And this was about 3 years ago, 4 years ago. That was a huge protest for trainee pharmacists because of all the issues they had during the exam. And we had the likes of the lovely, lovely boss lady Lisa here with us. She was a trainee at the time, and she was one of those. I actually met Lisa down at the protest, the GPHC protest. So we were protesting against the students, but that was a very, very bad exam when Lisa did the exam because there's so many issues, the glitches, the invigilators did not even know, they were not even trained. You had students that had calculators for paper 2, some had the mobile phones on them. It was just all over the place. The invigilators didn't have a clue about the exam. Computers were going off. It was bad. It was really bad. There was no aircon in some venues. It was really bad. That's why we had a protest. So since then, the good news for most of you is that things are a lot better. So the GPHC literally tightened all those screws after that. So it's a lot better now. All your invigilators are trained. They're prepared. The system is more robust. They even changed the system. So everything is a lot better. Okay, so even if you have any of these problems, then it's going to be fine. Yeah, someone said about aircon. Yeah, some venues don't have aircon. Right? But this was back then. But the GPs has done a lot now. For example, and in some areas we're next to like some building sites. And imagine this trainees trying to do the exam and there's just so much noise. Imagine trying to focus and then next door is like this crazy road work, this crazy works going on, building works going on. And so in your exam, you actually have earplugs. So the invigilators can give you some earplugs. They will give you extra paper. I think you could have up to about 9 sheets of paper. They'll give you up to about 9, but you could have extra paper. They'll give you pens as well, I think. So it's due to all the issues, especially that we had a few years ago in that specific exam. The GPHC definitely sorted out a lot of things, and we've not really had that level of problems. We'll probably still have, but not to that level. Okay, so don't panic. The main thing you need to know that if anything happens, you have invigilators there, reach out to them, but make sure that you log it. Okay, make sure it's written down, it's logged, sent to the GPHC. Because anything happens, you have to use that for yourself in any case or any appeal. Okay, very, very important, guys. Now, another thing in the exam, if this is very true, guys. You can read about this stuff. It's very difficult to get an appeal against the GPHC to win an appeal. Now, if you're in the exam and your computer was glittering and it was not working well, and you spoke to the invigilator and they disconnected that computer, they had to move you somewhere else, which is very uncomfortable. Because we had some students that said they failed the exam because of this. Because I was so uncomfortable, I was so stressed, my computer wasn't working, I was panicking, the time was running, I was hyperventilating in there, then they changed my computer, then they moved me to another place, and I was panicking, I felt so claustrophobic in this new place, and that's the reason why I failed my exams. Now, the GPHC said clearly, if you have a problem, and the invigilators sort that problem out, even though it takes a bit of time, you cannot use this as an excuse later for an appeal. So you cannot say, oh, it was 5 minutes to move me onto a new computer. They moved me onto a new computer, but that move from one to the other affected me psychologically. The GPHC is not going to let that through. So if it's something that is very, very serious, that it definitely affected your performance, they say, yes, you could write to us then. But generally, if you had a little glitch and that was sorted out, you cannot come back and say, because of this glitch, this is the reason why I failed. Yes, and SA is saying the same thing. This is what happened at the time. Yeah, but it's not our fault. That's not our fault. It's a technical issue. It's your fault. But yeah, the GPHC also has to cover themselves. Right? So they've said that. They've said that if that happens, that's what I'm saying. You have to be prepared. You have to really be prepared. Now, if this stuff is affecting your performance, then the GPHC expect you not to finish the exam. Right? So SA, what GPHC is saying is, if you think at that time that this move from one computer to the next has affected your performance, then you should nullify the exam. You should log it down. You should leave the exam. But if you continue and you see the exam and you complete it and you submit it, and you wait for your results, and then your results come out, and you go like, hey, by the way, I want to appeal. The reason why I failed is because this stuff happened. They don't want to listen to that. It's too late. So for them, is if this really affects your performance, then you have to log it there. Speak to the invigilator. Tell them this has happened. This has knocked my confidence. I cannot sit this exam. I'm feeling so distressed right now. I need to nullify the exam. We get a nullification form, send that off, fill everything in, walk out from the exam. Your paper is not going to be marked. This is not going to be counted as an attempt, and then you have another attempt. The problem is when you carry on and you submit, and then you try to come back later after the results to say, I want to appeal because this happened when I was doing the exam. Then the question is, why did you continue, and why did you submit the exam at the end? Why didn't you nullify it? So these are little things that you need to know. Okay. How can we log things in the exam? So the invigilators have a form, and they will do that with you. Okay, they will log everything. So there's someone that's going to be there with you. If it's a computer issue, they will change the computer. They'll move on to a new computer. They're going to write down the times when this stuff started. They will probably give you the extra time. They're going to also relay that information to the GPHC. They're going to give you a case ID or a case number 416. This person, this case had this issue with the computer, and so we had to move her to another computer. That took us about 10 minutes. We had to give her 10 extra minutes at the end to sit the exam. And she was fine. She did the exam. She said it was okay, and she submitted it. That's fine. Okay? Absolutely important stuff. Okay? Is it calculations first, then straight after clinical? Oh, what a question. Don't ask this question. Please don't tell me you are sitting the exam tomorrow. Please tell me you're not. Please tell me you're not. Please tell me you're not. Kosi, please say to me on there, say, Marvin, I am not sitting the exam tomorrow. Please tell me you're not sitting the exam tomorrow. Please, please, please. Are you sitting or not? Please tell me yes or no. Yeah, you're not sitting the exam. Okay, I'll let you off. Okay, I'll let you off. Whew. Yes, calculations first. Calculations first, then you have about 2 hours or so, then you do clinical in the afternoon. Okay, but I'm glad that you're thinking in advance. Very good. Okay, great stuff. Kosi, you're a star now. Whew. You made my blood pressure rise, Kosi. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna pass out now. No way is this training asking what paper is first tomorrow morning. No. But I feel good now. You are great, Kosi. You're asking in advance, you will do well. Your curiosity will take you far. All right. So guys, important stuff. Let's keep going. Many of you are going to thank me for this tomorrow. When you walk to the exam, this is your mental state. This is what we talk about when we talk about your mental state, making sure you know all this stuff and you're prepared. So make sure if anything happens, you log it down. I've mentioned to you before during the exam, please remember, guys, you need to fill in that nullification form. You need to get some evidence, okay? Make sure that you have the right GPC calculator with you. Make sure you know the venue. You get there early, ideally at 9 o'clock. Please get there at 9 o'clock. Familiarize yourself with the Surpass system, the different functionalities. You need to know how to use the system tomorrow, okay? And you have all these on-screen instructions. Also, you're going to have timers, so you can actually see the time. And you're going to have these little pop-up messages when it's about 30 minutes to the end, 15 minutes to the end, 5 minutes to the end. You're going to get pop-up messages on your screen trying to remind you got 30 minutes, you got 15 minutes, you got 5 minutes, which is good. So please keep an eye on the time, because many students fail not because they don't know stuff, but because they run out of time. Okay? So please. Another thing you need to be careful about is some of the screens are close to each other. And there was a trainee, again, another trainee about 2 years ago, that was so mad because she felt that she was accused by an invigilator for trying to copy. So she was looking at someone else's screen. So I don't know where she was. I don't know where she wasn't. I don't know. She just literally approached me. She was crying and said, this is what had come up, and Marvin, this is not fair. But basically, one of the invigilators suspected that she was copying another trainee that went into exam, and she was also done for plagiarism, but she said she wasn't, because what happened is when she was revising, she'd written things on her palm. Guys, be very careful, right? She'd written things on her palm and written some mnemonics. I don't know whatever she'd written on her palm. And she said she just done this when she was revising at the time. It had nothing to do with the exam, but she totally forgot, because when she normally revised, sometimes she writes some things down to memorize. And so when she went into the exam, she totally forgot that she'd even written this stuff on her hand. And when she got into the exam, she got done for that. So be careful. Another student had her notes with her. She said, oh, I had these notes, but I wasn't planning on reading them. I don't know, when I was just moving my things, I had this little sheet that had like some things on there and I didn't realize, and I got to the exam hall. So guys, be very careful. Make sure there's no mobile phones on you when you go into the hall, when you sit down there on your desk, your workstation. Make sure there's no notes with you. There's nothing written on your palms, nothing. Don't do anything that's going to jeopardize your exam tomorrow, okay? Please, please. Some things could happen unconsciously. So this girl, the invigilator actually approached her and spoke to her and said, I've been observing you, and feel you are looking into another person's screen, the person in front of you on the side, I don't know. So the main thing is make sure you keep your focus on your screen so that you don't get into any issues. Now, perhaps she wasn't, and this could happen to you. Perhaps you're not. Maybe you could be there tomorrow just looking around, and an invigilator might think you're looking to someone's screen. And perhaps you may say to them, no, I'm not. But that could affect your performance. Just the mere fact that you've been accused for plagiarism, that could make you panic and that could affect your performance, right? So you want to avoid that type of thing. Just make sure your eyes are focused on your screen, okay? Yes, there will be a timer. There will be a timer in the exam, guys. You will have a timer. And there will also be a pop-up message that I said about 30 minutes, 15 minutes, 5 minutes to the end, okay? So those of you that are not too sure, please make sure you go on the GPHC website. Now, a few things that you can do. So those are the key things I wanted to give you guys for tomorrow, okay? Now, let me give you a few tips now in terms of your exam, things that can help you for tomorrow that you should do. The first thing I'm going to say to you, the first thing is easy questions first. All questions in the exam carry the same marks. Every single question. A question that is so complicated, an SPC question that could take up to 5 minutes, carries the same marks, 1 mark, as a question that takes 30 seconds to do. But Marvin, why are you telling us this? This is the reason why. I always like giving examples because of my experience. I've worked with so many trainees. So I had this trainee about 3 years ago that has sat the exam twice. And those 2 times, she failed the exam. She was a smart girl, but she kept failing the exam. So she came to see me for one-to-one, and then we're analyzing the reasons why she failed the exam, even though I thought she was smart, but what was happening. And we found out that the reason why she was failing this exam, I found out was due to her strategy. The strategy that she was using to answer questions in the exam. She had to answer every question. She was answering every question chronologically. I need to do 1 before I go to 2, before I do question 3, before I do question 4. And if she didn't finish question 3, she couldn't move on to question 4. Because as soon as she moved on to question 4, she started thinking, oh my God, I can't even focus on question 4 because I'm thinking about the question 3 that I couldn't do. So to her, the ideal situation was that she does every single question, because if I don't finish this question, I cannot move on to the next question. She'd done that the first time, she'd failed. She'd done that the second time, she failed. Do you know, when she did her second exam, she ran out of time. She had about 6 or about 8 questions, which she did not do at the end, because obviously she was trying to make sure I do everything. So she had about 8 questions, or 6 or 8 questions, which she did not get to do. She did not get to finish. When the results came out, I think it was a clinical paper, by the way, it was a clinical paper. When the results came out, even when she walked out of the exam room, right, and then they started discussing the questions, she did not really know what the last questions, the final 8 questions were. But when they started discussing the questions with the friends and everything, then she realized that out of those last 8 questions that she didn't do, there were 5 questions on there that she could do easy, like literally within 30 seconds. She knew 5 answers for 5 questions that if she'd seen them, she would have smashed them. Like 5 of them she could do easy. Like literally within 30 seconds, Marvin, I knew the answer straight away. Right? When the results came out, she'd failed the exam. She failed the exam by 2 marks. She failed the exam by 2 marks. Now think about it. Think about it. She spent a lot of time doing long questions, because there's some SPC questions, just doing them chronologically. I'll do question 1, question 2, question 3, question 4, question 5. And she failed by 2 marks. Now, if at any point she decided to leave a difficult question and just jump on to the next question and do the easy questions first, she would have seen those last questions at the end. And she would have been able to answer those 5 questions, and she got those 8 questions, she got 5 of them correct. She would have had 5 marks, and she would have passed the exam. She would have passed the exam. Even if she didn't spend that extra time doing the other questions. Maybe 1 or 2 questions, she spent 6 minutes. Say on 2 questions, she spent 6 minutes on those questions to do them, and she got 2 marks. Well done. She spent 6 minutes, she got 2 marks. But in 6 minutes, she got 2 marks. If she'd used the 6 minutes or those last questions at the end, which she could have done them in 30 seconds, she would have got 5 marks, right? So your time is precious. The time that you use can give you different number of marks. That's why it's important. Tomorrow, you do the easy questions first. Many students that succeed leave the SPC questions till the end. So you walk into exam, you go through it. If a question takes more than 1 minute to do for clinical, leave it. Come back to it later. If a calculation question takes more than 3 minutes, leave the question. Come back to it later. Look for the questions and calculations that you can do within a minute, within 2 minutes. Get those ones out of the way first. And you will know when you see the questions. You will know which ones, the C1, V1s. You'll be able to say straight away, I can do this stuff quickly. If any question in calculations is longer than 3 minutes, leave it, do it at the end. If there's any reading in terms of SPC and stuff that requires you to spend more than 2 minutes in a clinical paper, leave it till the end. Do all the other questions first. Get all your easy questions first, and then you do the longer ones. Because even if you did all the easy questions and there was about 4 long SPC questions or 5 long SPC questions and you did not get enough time to do it, you will still pass. You probably still pass because you've done all those easy questions and you'll be more confident because you knew you did the easy questions. But if you spend all your time trying to do those SPC questions and you run out of time and you missed out on about 8 questions, then that's a whole different ball game and a very, very bad mindset to have. So easy questions first tomorrow, guys. Go for the easy ones. Flag up any question. Come back to it later. Okay? Come back to it later. Because the GPC has allocated a specific time for you per question. And the allocation is roughly, like we always say, it's roughly 1 minute for a clinical question and 3 minutes for a car question. And that's bearing in mind that if you really want to pass exam, you need to finish before time. You don't finish on time. You finish before time. Because it's when you finish before time, you have time to go over the paper again. And for most people, when you go over the paper again, you're going to pick up 1 or 2 things that you misread. You're going to correct them, and that could give you 2 or 3 extra marks. And guess what? You pass the exam, right? So going through your paper again, having those few minutes to go over the paper again will differentiate. It could be a massive distinction between a pass or a fail. Just having 5-10 minutes at the end to go over your paper again is far better than finishing either on time or running out of time. What did Lisa say? Lisa smashed it. And by the way, this girl I was telling you about, so in her 3rd attempt, that's all we decided to do. In her 3rd attempt, she failed twice. We said, okay, this time, all you have to do is answer easy questions first. Do all your easy questions first, and then you do the difficult ones. And she wasn't used to it. She said, oh, Marvin, but she had to practice. You had to have, and that's why I said to you guys, your ability to move on is so important tomorrow. I'm like, you have to move on. Now, what do you say to yourself when you move on? I had to practice with her. And this is why I said to her, every time you move on, you need to say to yourself, I can fill up to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, all the way to 36 questions and still pass. And you have to say to yourself, every single question carries the same marks. Whether you do an SPC question that takes you 6 minutes, or you do one question that was just on what drugs are used for weight control that took you like 30 seconds, they all carry the same marks. So the best piece of advice, do easy questions first. Yes, Jerry, and that is my say. And I said that to her as well. In order for you to have what you've never had, you need to do what you've never done, because different actions produce different results. It is the first place I start with all trainees that failed the exam. The first thing I ask them is, have you done anything different this time from last time? And if the answer is no, then you will produce the same results. You're going to fail again. If the answer is yes, Marvin, I did more mock papers this time. I signed up to more courses this time, Marvin. I studied in a group this time. I spent more hours revising. I did more past papers. Then you will pass. Confidence doesn't come from knowing everything. Confidence comes from knowing you've done your best and you've given everything. That's where confidence comes from, where you can actually walk in and say, I have given my best. I have done my best and I will leave the rest. You have to have this confidence. Tomorrow, when you walk into the exam, you have to feel. That's why someone asked me, when do you know when you're ready? There is not like a measure, but the way you know you're ready is when you know you've done your best. Marvin, I've got a competition. I've got a UK men's physics competition on Sunday. Right? So it's a UK men's physics competition. So I'm a fitness freak. I love fitness. So I've got a men's physics competition on Sunday. And my little girl, my daughter, she is 11 years old. My little girl. I call her little girl, but she thinks she's 30. But she's 11. And she said to me the other day, she's like, "Oh, Daddy," she says, "Hey, how do you feel? How do you feel going into this competition on Sunday? How do you feel?" And I said to her, I said, "You know what? I'm very confident going into this. And the reason why I'm confident is not because of the result. I'm not like confident I'm going to be first. I don't know what I'm going to place. But what I'm confident about is that I've done so much work. I've given 100% of myself. I've trained hard every day. I've dieted well every day. I've given every single thing I can. And this is what gives me confidence. And I'm going to go in there and we're going to see what the outcome is. And that's the kind of confidence you need to have. As long as you know that you've given your best. I've done it, Marvin. Last time I feel, but I did not do as much as I've done this time. I've attended those lectures. I've gone to those webinars. I've read those notes. I've been revising. I've been doing everything I can. Lisa is on here. The one thing about Lisa, I remember Lisa failed the exam twice. The one thing about Lisa, and that really made me admire her so much. And I knew for a fact Lisa was going to pass, even though at the time, maybe she didn't think she was going to pass. But the reason why I knew that she was going to pass was because this girl never missed a single session that we had online. She didn't miss a single session. Even when she had failed the exam, she still turned up. She still showed up. She was still there. I was always seeing her there. Lisa was back in there. Failed the exam, she was back in there for all the classes. Failed the exam again, she was still back in there, still giving 100%, still doing it. And that's all. And I knew she was going to pass. So you sit down yourself tonight, and as long as you've done your best, you've given your best, you've put in the work, guys, things will work out for you. All right? Things will work out. And that's all you can do. Believe in yourself. More students pass the exam than fail the exam. If others have done it, you can do it too. And Lisa is still here. Yay, Lisa. Lisa is a perfect example of persistence. She is a walking example of someone that has failed the exam a few times, but continue to push herself. Continue to push yourself. Continue to do different things. She's the perfect example of someone who, in order to produce different results, you need to take different action. And she took the actions. And I know because I've spent so much time when she was a trainee, and I seen the tears I had on the phone crying. She knows, right? I know her struggle. I know how tough it was for her. I'd seen times when she was going to give up. But despite all of this, she always showed up. Always showed up. And that's why she's here today as a very, very successful pharmacist, but not only a successful and inspirational pharmacist, a pharmacist that is devoting her time and her energy to help others like you succeed as well. Okay? So guys, believe in yourself tomorrow. I'm wishing you all the best of luck. Let me let you guys go. It's 11:07. Please have enough rest today. Let me let you guys relax. You work so hard. You deserve this. Have an early sleep, ladies and gents. Have an early sleep. Any tips for them, Lisa? Anything you want to type down that I could let them know? Any tips I could put up here for you? Guys, if you have any tips for anyone tomorrow, type it in the chat. Let's bring it up. Anything you want to say to everyone in here today that can help them tomorrow, please type it. Let me bring it up. Believe in yourself. You've come this far. You can fill many questions tomorrow and still pass. It is not over until it's over. Believe in yourself. Stay positive. Stay positive. Stay positive. You will pass. You will pass. You will pass. Please, guys, don't doubt yourself. Don't doubt yourself. And if you doubt yourself tomorrow, Just remember this session with Marvin. Remember Marvin screaming and telling you, don't doubt yourself. There is a reason why more students always pass the exam, because it is doable, it is passable. And all of these students that were passing this exam, many of them were failing mocks, many of them were struggling, many of them were walking into the exam with doubts. Many of them were walking into the exam still asking themselves, I don't even know if I'm going to pass this exam. There were many trainees that actually passed and they were shocked that they passed. They're like, oh my God, Marvin, I cannot believe I passed because I was so convinced I was going to fail. So you have the chance. Make it count. Seize the opportunity. As Fish says, tips from Fish, do the exam as if you passed already. That's great. Think about it. I tell some trainees, even write a little note for yourself, paste it on your wall, like the GPC exam. You can make a fake one, like you're on the register. Make a fake GPC exam register and write your name, Jerry Tan, pharmacist. Or you write a fake letter. I could give you the letter. You know, when you get your result, the GPC sends you that letter, say you've passed or you failed. You can do a fake one and write, Jerry Tan, congratulations, you have passed the GPC exam. Paste on your wall. Because believing things, you will see things, right? Believing it is seeing it. Believe it and you will see it. The first step to succeed is to believe. If you don't believe, you really sabotage your success. You need to believe you can pass this exam. You need to believe you can. You need to believe you can. And if you do, you will. Congratulations in advance from Esther. I love that. To all of you from Esther. Ivanabella says, Ivanabelle, praying for all the trainees. That's really nice. And I'm praying for all of you. Take care, everyone, and I look forward to seeing you all as pharmacists on the other side. See you all and have a great evening and good luck for tomorrow. You've got this.